If you're someone who, like me, hasn't been living under a rock, you've probably noticed the abnormal growth of the short form market these last few years. Everyone is posting Instagram reels. It seems like everyone these days is going viral. Everyone has made 10K from their personal brand, and everyone seems to be winning in this game of short form content. The truth is, although the short form market is huge in 2024, this simply isn't the case for everyone. Instead, this is the result of the people who are capitalizing on the 3 pillars of creating viral short-form content in 2024. And what might these 3 pillars be? First, it's the fundamental setup of a high-quality personal brand. Then, it's the secrets to gathering successful ideas and creating engaging scripts. And lastly, it's the secret editing techniques that keep people engaged and interested in watching your content. And in this video, we're going to be covering everything you need to know about the 3 pillars of creating viral short-form content. First, we're going to set up our own personal brand. Then we're going to be using a unique technique to gather high quality video ideas and script out engaging videos. And lastly, I'm going to be guiding you step by step and creating this viral edit completely from scratch in After Effects and Premiere Pro. With this being said, we have a lot to go through, so let's begin with pillar 1, setting up our personal brand. Now, before we go and gather high quality video ideas and script out engaging videos, first we need to set up the base. Setting up a solid personal brand will not only make our brand look higher quality, but also make people assume that our service is higher quality also. Take a look at Houston Gold. I bet you've never seen any of his services, but we both know they're pretty expensive. The same goes for Bart VFX, Frederick Pahos, Alex Hormozy, Devin Jatho, and all the big names that you know. The reason this works is because they have set up the 5 factors of their personal brand correctly. They all have a consistent brand theme, a high quality profile picture, an amazing bio, a great call to action, and content that matches the quality of their service. So, how do we set this up ourselves? You'll need to choose a general color that you'll want to use for your brand, and then come up with a color palette associated with it. And here are a few examples of what that looks like. For our character here, we're going to be going with the blue as a main color. The other thing that we need to do is gather 2 opposing fonts that are going to need to complement the brand image. So we're going to need one that's minimal and one that's artistic. And with this out of the way, we can get to work on factor 2, which is the profile picture. And this is the face of your brand. So it's very important that we nail this down. So go, grab your phone and snap a very high quality picture of your face. Once that's done, let's go ahead and get rid of the background and replace it with our brand's main color. But with this out of the way, we now have a brand theme and a profile picture. Now onto factor number 3, the amazing bio. And honestly, the easiest way of doing this is using the 3-line bio structure. Line 1 is going to contain what I do, so here I can write something like turning videos into viral engaging content. Line 2 will contain my qualifications, so here I can have something like 2 million plus views generated. And line 3 contains a call to action, which is where I will usually say something like DM me to get your videos edited by a professional. Now we can finally get into factor number 4, which is the amazing call to action. One crucial thing to understand is that when people are actually interested in working with you, they're gonna want to click something or do some kind of action that's gonna get them connected with you. And this is where we can either include a portfolio that people can check out and see what we've been doing, or we can include a Calendly link with a very detailed questionnaire so that people can book calls with us. And last but not least, number 5 is our content. We'll get into the nitty-gritty details of our content in just a bit, but what you need to remember is to be consistent with your brand theme throughout your content. So take every possible opportunity to use your brand colors and your brand fonts in your videos. Because remember, a consistent brand is a trusted one. And if you've done all this, you will now have a brand theme, a high quality profile picture, an amazing bio, a great call to action, and a consistent brand image in your content. And if we put all these together, we will end up with a very high quality personal brand on all social platforms. So now that we've set up our personal brand, if you guys are enjoying this so far, feel free to subscribe to the channel because we have a lot of bangers coming in 2025 that you won't want to miss out on. But it's now time to get into our second pillar, which is ideation and creating engaging scripts. Now look, creating a viral video all starts in the idea and the script. If you can gather an amazing video idea and script it in a way where people get interested in watching the video, then you can create the next viral banger. So let's start by gathering successful ideas. There are 3 main methods to gather successful ideas for videos. You can either use the pain method, the desire method, or the trending method. The pain method first relies on you placing yourself in your viewer's shoes and asking yourself, what am I currently struggling with? Then you're going to want to position your video idea as the solution to that problem. The desire method works similarly, where you're going to put yourself in your viewer's shoes and ask yourself the question, what do I want to achieve the most? Then you can position the video idea as the method by which they can achieve that desire. And lastly, the trending method relies on a different strategy. Instead of reinventing the wheel, simply take what is already working in your niche and recreate it. To do this, you're going to need to cultivate the Dream 100 list, or a list of 100 people who are already creating the kind of content you want to create. And by doing this, you collect all all of their best performing videos and find which videos are in common, and this will give you the ideas that have been working and will consistently work if you execute them correctly. So now that you know how to gather a good video idea, you have a list of successful video ideas. But how do we turn this into a video script? Well, let's start with an overview. The short form video is split into 3 phases: the hook, the body, and the call to action. And starting with the hook, this is where we're going to need to mention our video idea in a very attractive claim, something that's going to grab the attention of the viewer. So if my idea is why a personal brand is important for editors, we can either turn it into a negative claim, like you're wasting your money if you don't have this as an editor, or we can turn it into a really positive claim, like if you're struggling to land clients, then this is what you need to do. And both of them will do a good job at gathering our viewers' interest. Now onto the body. The secret here is to drop a golden nugget and then follow it up with a claim that keeps the viewer interested. And I do this by giving out some good value like this. And lastly, your back end is your service, editing high quality videos for clients. And then following it up with an interesting statement like this. So, which one do you think you need to work on? And you want to follow this value plus curiosity sequence for your whole video. And with this being said, we get to our call to action, which is simply where you tell the viewer to do something after watching the video. And examples of good calls to action can be something like follow for more value, or comment X to receive Y, and save this so you can reuse it in the future. And with this being said, we can now gather a very high quality video idea and script it into a very engaging video. So I'll go ahead and do this, and this is what I end up with. A video titled The Importance of a Personal Brand for Video Editors, and this is what it looks like unedited. Your most important asset as a video editor is your personal brand. Let me explain. Every business is made up of 3 layers: the front end, the transition, and the back end. Your front end as a video editor is your personal brand. It's what attracts your clients' eyes when they click on your profile. Then your transition is your portfolio, or the link that you leave in your bio. And lastly, your back end is your service, editing high quality videos for clients. So, which one do you think you need to work on? Comment down below. And this is where we can finally get into pillar number 3, which is the secrets to editing a viral, engaging video. Now look, before we start editing this, you need to understand that we are about to get into a lot of complex concepts in After Effects. And if you're someone who's looking to create content in 2024, I hate to tell you, but you're gonna have to become an expert editor in order to keep up with what the market is doing. But that's not it. The problem is when it comes to learning video editing, because the information is just all over the place, it's gonna take you so long to even get started. Just think of this. On average, it takes people 1 to 2 years to get to the point where they can edit the short that we're about to create. And I myself had to face this problem when learning video editing, which is why I decided to dedicate the last year to developing a product that would teach video editors how to become professional editors in 2024 within just 60 days. Yep, you heard that right. The Ultimate Editor's Plan is a plan that includes more than 300 plus courses on video editing, all in one package. Over 50 courses in the Premiere Pro Masterclass, over 50 courses in the complete After Effects Masterclass, more than 100 courses on the viral short form editing styles in 2024, and more than 100 courses on the high-paying long form editing styles in 2024. As a matter of fact, this entire short that we're about to edit is only a sneak peek into what's inside of my content creation masterclass. And guess what? All of this comes with weekly calls, editing competitions, and even more courses on business. If this sounds like something you're interested in, I've left a completely free video down below that breaks down everything that we've prepared for you inside of the Ultimate Editor's Plan. So just go ahead and click the first link in the description to watch it. And the price is going to be increasing really soon, so make sure to check this out as soon as possible. But now, without further ado, let's get straight into creating this edit. In this short, we're going to be breaking down and recreating these 5 edits over here. All of them will stick with our brand color of blue and our font choice as well. But first, I'll add in my short into Premiere Pro. Then the first thing I want to do is use my razor tool to create cuts and remove these silences. And I'll do this for the entire video. Once I've removed all the silences, then I'm going to hold down Alt, drag my video back a bit, and overlap the audios like so. These are called J-cuts, and they make this whole short flow so much smoother. Once again, I'm going to do this to the entire video now, and you'll end up with a nicely paced raw video. Now I'm going to need to create some subtitles, so I'll head over to the window and text, then click on transcribe to transcribe my sequence. I'll then click this button here to create captions and set all the settings to the lowest so that I can end up with single word captions, and then click create captions. Now that we have our subtitles, I'll go ahead and click on one of them, and in the properties panel, I can change the fonts to one of my 2 brand fonts that we chose earlier on, and also resize it and place it in the center. Then I'm going to go ahead and click this button here, click on create new style, and this will apply the text style to the rest of the captions on my timeline. With that done, I'll select all my subtitles and click on upgrade caption to graphic, and finally select everything all together, right click on them, then replace with After Effects composition, and check if my PC got on fire. And now that we're in After Effects, this is where we're going to be doing most of our editing, and we're actually going to be using 4 plugins that are going to make our life so much easier. First, we need Deep Glow to create high quality glows. Then we're going to need Animation Composer. This is going to give us pre-made text animations. Then we're also going to need Easy Tools, which will allow us to use this feature to center objects quickly. And finally, we'll need a plugin called Unprecompose, and you'll see why in a bit. But now back in After Effects, you can see my entire timeline is full of these pre-composed text layers. So I'm going to select all of my text layers, go up to Layer, Unprecompose, and this is what it's going to look like afterwards. So I'll go ahead and organize my timeline so that everything looks really clean. Now to keep my timeline clean, I'll select all the layers I don't need, click on this button here, and then activate the hide function up here. But now let's get to work on our first big animation. Your most important asset as a video editor is your personal brand. Let me explain. I'll start by selecting all my captions, clicking this button here to center my anchor point, and then using the position, I'll drag them down to somewhere around here. And first, we're gonna need to set up our text style. So I add in a gradient ramp, set the end of the ramp right under my text, and the start of it right above my text. Set the start color to white and the end color to this light blue. And then I add in a deep glow and set the exposure to 0.2 and enable chromatic aberration. And this is the text style we're going to be using for our video. So I'll copy these 2 effects and paste them on the rest of my text. Now I'm going to go ahead and extend these first 4 words here. Then I drop the words important and asset down here. And I move the words your and most around until they are most visible. Then I went ahead and selected the word important, headed over to the animator composer and chose a text animation and added it to both words. Then to add a rectangle behind them, I start with a shape layer, click on the rectangle tool and create this rectangle. I'll round off the corners just a bit and change the color of the rectangle to blue. Now to animate a quick animation for the rectangle, I select it, make the anchor point on the left side, then keyframe the scale as it is now. Move back and set it to 0. Then I select the keyframes and click F9 to easy ease them, and we will get this scale effect. Don't forget to add a deep glow to this rectangle too with a low exposure. Now in this section where I say video editor, I'll add in a shape layer, use my pen tool to draw out a line curving upwards, go into the shape layer, delete the fill and add a stroke of 4. Add in some dashes, set them to 25, click this play icon here, then add in my trim paths function, then make sure the end is at 0% and keyframe the start value at 0%. Now just move forward and make it 100%, and this is gonna make it draw out. Don't forget to make your keyframes smoother. Then I added the word video editor up top and added a deep glow to the line. Now for this last part, I'll take the words personal and brand and expand them up to here. Then I'll change both of their fonts to our second brand font, which is the artistic one, and I'll play around with the sizing and position of things until it looks good. Finally, I'll add in some animations from Animation Composer on both texts, and now I want to create a line drawing out around both of them, so I add in a shape layer, click on my pen tool and draw out this shape that goes around both words and the phrase overall. Then I delete the fill, add a stroke and change the stroke color to blue this time, and add a deep glow to make it look even better. And as usual, add our trim paths and animate the start going from 0 to 100 so it writes out. And with this all done, that's it for our intro, and this is what our first animation looks like now. Your most important asset as a video editor is your personal brand. Let me explain. Now it took us quite some time to get up to this point here, but that's only because we've been creating everything completely from scratch. But now that you understand how to do it all, it's going to take us way less time to go through the rest of the video. So with that being said, let's get into our second big animation, which is the pyramid. Every business is made up of 3 layers: the front end, the transition, and the back end. So for this section, I'm only going to be animating, so I'm going to go ahead and delete all of my text, and I'm going to start by creating a background. So I add in a solid layer, then add a gradient, change the mode to radial ramp, move the start over here and the end over there, and change the start color to a dark blue and the end to a black. And this is my go-to background when I'm animating. So now I want to create this cool 3D pyramid effect. So I'll add in a shape layer, and using a polygon tool, I'll draw out a polygon, set the number of points to 3 and then pre-compose it. I'll change the renderer to advanced 3D, and I'll add in another shape layer, and using my mask tool, I trace out the triangle. You're probably thinking, Joseph, that was absolutely useless. But just wait. Now I'll go down to my extrusion depth and add in some depth to this triangle. Then I duplicate the same layer, but this time I'll move the bottom 2 points so that they form the top part of the pyramid. Then I'm going to take the base layer and move the 2 points so they create the second piece of the pyramid, and lastly, duplicate the layer one more time and form the base of the pyramid. Now with this done, I'll decrease the other 2 extrusion depths so they get smaller as we go. Then I'll make sure to center them from the top view as well. And now I want to animate each part of the pyramid moving down from the top. So I keyframe the current position, move back, and raise each piece of the pyramid up. Finally, I'll smoothen out these keyframes in the graph editor, and then I pre-composed that animation, added a gradient ramp, and made it to a white-blue ramp. And with some deep glow, this is what it looked like at the end. Okay, so now I need to animate the dotted lines for each section, and we already know how to do this, so let's add a shape layer, draw out a line, add a stroke with some dashes, animate it with the start function, and you already know how this works. Then I duplicated that line another time but changed the shape, and duplicated it one more time and changed the shape again. The final step is to add in some deep glow with light exposure, and this is looking nice. Now lastly, we're going to copy our original text style, add it here, write out front end and place it up top, then duplicate it and write out transition, and do the same thing for the back end too. And with all these together, this animation is officially complete. Every business is made up of 3 layers: the front end, the transition, and the back end. Alright, cool. So we finished up the first and second animation of the video. Let's go ahead and get into the third one. Your front end as a video editor is your personal brand. It's what attracts your clients' eyes when they click on your profile. Now for this one, I also decided to go with an animation. So we first added in our background, then we added in our text style and wrote out the word front end. And I pre-composed both the background and the text style and made my layer 3D and changed the renderer to the basic 3D render. This is going to allow me to keep things like glows and effects, unlike the advanced 3D renderer. Now I duplicate my text and removed the fill and added a stroke and resized it like so, then duplicated it once again and placed it here. Now I played with both their gradient ramps so that they start at a darker color and end at a brighter color. Now we add in our shape layer, and using our pen mask we draw out a straight line, add some stroke, some dashes, animated drawing out with the trim paths function, and now at the base of the animation I want to create this UI animation that shows our personal brand. So I first start by adding in a shape layer and drawing out this rectangle. I made sure to fill it with a gradient ramp and made the start a light blue and the end a darker blue. Then I added in an icon of a profile picture and moved it to the left side. Then added in our gradient ramp and made the start a darker blue and the end a black color. Then I added another shape layer with a rectangle up here and animated it scaling out from the left side and duplicated it 3 times. Now I also added in a little pop-up to the person icon while creating an opacity in animation at the beginning. And finally animated this rectangle scaling from the bottom to fill the animation. The last part was adding in the follow button, so I just added a rectangle and made it bright blue and wrote out the word follow and added it in. Then we started layering glows, so we added one to the main frame and one to the follow button, and now we zoomed out a bit, and what I did here was copy the profile picture icon I made and simply duplicated it and spread it all over the entire screen like so. Then to fill in our environment, I added in a shape layer and used my circle mask to draw out a circle, remove the fill, add a stroke and duplicate it 3 more times and resize them properly. And with that done, we've built out our scene, so now it's time to add in our camera. So I'll right click and add in a 1-node camera, then I'll keyframe my current position at the text, I'll move back and make the camera start further away, then I'll move forward to the UI animation and bring the camera down to the rectangle, and lastly have it end with a zoom out to show the entire scene altogether. I'll then play around with all the keyframes and smoothen out everything to make it flow really nicely. And this is what we end up with for our third animation. Your front end as a video editor is your personal brand. It's what attracts your clients' eyes when they click on your profile. Alright, we've got 2 more animations left. One is a simple text animation and one is another complex animation. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. But then your transition is your portfolio, or the link that you leave in your bio. Now I won't spend too much time on this text animation as we've already gone through something similar, but the first thing I'll do is delete the second half of the captions since I'll be replacing it with a big image. And as for the first captions, I'll extend them all the way till the end over here. Then first bring the word transition down here, place the words then and your like so. Now I'll change the color of the word transition to this orange and white combination, and then add a shape layer and create a rectangle under the word transition and change the color to orange and animate its scale from the left side. Now I'll move the words is and your down here and place them like so. Then bring the word portfolio down here, change the font to the artistic font, and add an animation from Animation Composer. And to finish it off, I'll need a line drawing around the text, so added the shape layer, draw out a line that underlines the text, then curves around, remove the fill, add a stroke, change the color to yellow, and don't forget to add in the trim paths and animate the start function. As the final touch, I'll add in my image for this section here, add a deep glow and make it super light, then duplicate the layer with this line animation, delete the path, and using my pen tool, I'll draw out a path that circles around the name and down to the portfolio. Then I just animated the picture popping up from the bottom using the position and added a little rotation so that it looks a little 3D. And with this all finished, this is our fourth animation. Then your transition is your portfolio, or the link that you leave in your bio. And now finally, we're on to our last animation, and this is going to be a crazy one, so let's go ahead and get started with it. And lastly, your backend is your service, editing high quality videos for clients. First up, I'll remove the caption since this is all gonna be one big animation. Then I'm gonna add in our favorite background. I'll copy the text style from the word portfolio and paste it right here, write out the word backend, then duplicate the word, remove the fill and add a stroke and resize it like so, duplicate it once again and place it down here, played around with the gradient ramp until we got this look. Let's pre-compose all of this and make it a classic 3D composition. Now to create our line animation, I'm gonna add in a shape layer, create a line, add the trim paths function, and animate the start going from 0 to 100. Lastly, I'm gonna add a deep glow with an exposure of 0.2, and I'll copy the text from above and move it to the bottom and write out the word service. but this time I'm gonna change the font to Nexa. Now let's get into the more complex animation. I drag in an icon of a camera, make it a 3D layer, then brought it forward so that there's more depth in between the camera and the line animation. I added in a gradient ramp with the colors dark blue and light blue, and then I duplicate the line animation and rotate it and place it behind the icon like so. I also added dashes into it, and then it was time to bring in the new icons. So I brought in an icon of multiple people, also added a gradient ramp to it, made the colors go from dark blue to light purple, and added in my profile icon with a gradient ramp and applied the same colors. Now I pre-composed that layer, made sure to keep it 3D, and applied our deep glow effect to it at 0.2. Now the scene is finally set up, so let's go ahead and add in our camera. We'll add in a one-node camera and keyframe the position on the text, then move back and bring the camera out. Then we're going to move over to the line animation and make the camera move down to the word service, and lastly, have the camera zoom out to the point where we can see all the icons. I'll also play around with the camera movement and make it all flow into each other and super smooth. And with this all finished, we have finally completed all the animations and the short is officially complete. Notice how we also used our brand colors and our brand fonts, which will show our brand to be high quality and consistent. However, there is one very crucial step that we forgot to do, which is adding music and sound design. It's a very important process that a lot of people are overlooking these days. But since I've already taken up enough of your time, I'm going to be making a completely different video covering the entire workflow I use to sound design and find the right music for this video. So stay tuned for that one. However, since you've watched all the way till the end, here's the complete short for you with sound design and music, so let me know what you think. Your most important asset as a video editor is your personal brand. Let me explain. Every business is made up of 3 layers: the front end, the transition, and the back end. Your front end as a video editor is your personal brand. It's what attracts your clients' eyes when they click on your profile. Then your transition is your portfolio, or the link that you leave in your bio. And lastly, your back end is your service, editing high quality videos for clients. So, which one do you think you need to work on? Comment down below. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. It genuinely means so much to me. If you made it this far, then you are a real fan of this channel. So this is a personalized thank you from me to you for supporting us this much. And on that note, we're posting every single Saturday or Sunday for some of you. So stay tuned for our next banger that we've got lined up for you. And God bless each and every single one of you guys. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you in the next one.